A Bay Area professor who can't afford a place to live and is sleeping most nights in her car.
With what I make at San Jose State, I can't pay $2,000 a month rent. Can't do it.
She takes home about $2,500 a month. Her usual routine is nearly constant motion. After classes, she parks in libraries or Walmart parking lots where she grades papers.
And I go sit somewhere until it's dark and then sneak into a neighborhood, park the car, and go to sleep.
Ellen used to be an admin in high tech, but was laid off in the dot-com bust, and she went through her savings. She went back to school and paid tuition with student loans.
And I'm $143,000 in debt. And I'm in my 50s, but I pay that loan every month.
She's also supporting her husband, who's unemployed, and their 2 dogs. She keeps her car neat and belongings are minimal to avoid being detected. But deep in her roof rack is a cast iron frying pan she doesn't use, at least for now.
I hold on to this because it's the hope that someday I'll have a home again.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Global Views with Josh, your number one stop for cutting through the political fog and getting straight to what's really happening in America. Now, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the breakdowns that the mainstream media keeps dancing around. All right, let's get into today's topic. And buckle up, because apparently many Americans can afford to buckle up anywhere but inside their cars right now. So picture this: the greatest nation on earth, under the greatest economic mind of all time, is now witnessing a historic boom in parking lots neighborhoods. Yes, under Trump's leadership, America has become the only country where your car is now both your transportation and your mortgage plan. Efficiency, right? Let's talk about why more Americans are literally living in their cars as the housing crisis explodes in ways we've never seen before.
There's a paradox happening in America in 2025. The richest country in the world, where people talk about AI and space travel, is seeing hundreds of thousands of citizens sleeping in their cars every night. It's not because they like van life or are passionate about freedom, and because they have nowhere else to go. A federal report shows that homelessness increased by 18% in just 1 year, and most of the increase came from people who still have jobs, still pay taxes, still try to hold on to the American dream. They just now live in a Ford Transit. Look around. Rent is skyrocketing. Wages are stagnant. New court rulings allow cities to fine people for sleeping outdoors. And what's the result? People drifted into the parking lot, hiding among the taillights. The question is no longer how many people are living in the car, but rather, why would a wealthy nation allow that to become the new normal? Today, we'll break down 5 reasons why living in your car could be the new symbol of the American crisis in 2025. You know, in 2025, renting a 1-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles will cost nearly $2,800 per month. In New York, over $4,000, the equivalent of the monthly price of a used Ford Focus. And the national average salary? It increased by less than 4%. That means house prices are increasing 5 times faster than wages. A study by the National Alliance to End Homelessness shows that for every $100 increase in average rent, homelessness increases by 9%. And now, those who once paid taxes and owned homes are paying off their sleep debt in their own cars. The car, once a symbol of American freedom, has now become the temporary home for millions. It sounds both funny and bitter. People no longer say they work to buy a car, but rather that they have a car so they can go to work. The steering wheel, which was originally used to turn right, is now being used to avoid paying rent. Where does the real cause lie after all? Because when housing costs become a race that wages can't keep up with, middle-aged workers who were once stable suddenly find themselves drifting off the map of stability. It's not that they're lazy. They still go to work, still pay taxes, and still maintain their dignity. But at the end of the month, they had to choose: pay rent or pay for the car. A man in the Bay Area recounted, "I used to live with 2 roommates. When the rent increased by $300, I left. The old van is now home. At least the landlord can't kick me out of the parking lot. The issue is even more concerning when this isn't just the story of a few individuals. It's a symptom of a misaligned economy, where the American dream is now folded small enough to fit in a car trunk. The sarcastic remark sounds like a joke, but it's true. In America now, whoever has a garage is rich. Anyone living in a vehicle is taking a shortcut to real estate. So the question isn't why they choose to live in cars, but rather, why does a country with an abundance of empty houses force its citizens to turn their cars into overnight sleeping quarters? What do you think if you had to choose between renting a house or sleeping in your car? Would you do things differently from them? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Behind them, there's another group of people. Silent, invisible, but growing rapidly every day. Who are they? We'll get to them right after this. Hey. You know the most ironic thing? In the United States, the homeless are not always on the streets. Many people still have a roof. It's just a metal roof, 4 wheels, and a steering wheel. According to a report by security.org, over 256,000 Americans slept in unstable conditions, in cars, warehouses, or on the roadside. And that number is rising as quickly as the price of Starbucks coffee. In Los Angeles, a survey by the Homeless Services Authority shows that the group living in vehicles accounts for the largest proportion of unsheltered homeless people, even more than those sleeping in tents. A form of urban retreat where garages, Walmart parking lots, or public parks become temporary hotels. But why did they choose cars over shelters? It's simple. Shelters are crowded, noisy, lack privacy, and are sometimes unsafe. And the car, though cramped, it was a small space to hold on to a little bit of the last remaining
Hey, we live in central Illinois. Our electric rates just went up 50%. My nephew has a ranch home that's probably 1,200 square feet, and his bill went from $260 to $560 in the last month. No difference in usage. The company just increased their rates 50%. So I'm curious if you have a similar home in a surrounding state, what you pay.
772,000. That's not a typo. That's how many folks are currently living on the streets in the so-called richest country in the world. And y'all want us to believe this is just the system working? Nah, the system is broken, and broke again. Let's break it down. Homelessness just hit a record high in the U.S. That's an 18% spike from last year alone. And family homelessness up 39%. Families, not just individuals. Moms, dads, kids sleeping in cars, on benches, under bridges. What's causing it? Sky-high rent, stagnant wages. Then you got post-COVID economic chokeholds, and a government that got no problem spending billions overseas but freezes up when it's time to house its own people. And don't get it twisted. This ain't just a bad economy issue. This is a policy failure. No cap. There are more empty homes in America than homeless people. Let that sink in. But instead of tackling housing reform or raising the minimum wage, we're watching politicians bicker like it's a Twitter beef while folks are freezing in tents. This ain't the American dream. This is an American eviction notice. And the wildest part, the media will run this headline and keep it pushing. No national emergency, no federal task force, just another day in the land of get yours or die trying. We need rent control, mental health support, jobs that pay a livable wage, and leaders who actually give a damn. Because homelessness isn't a crime, but letting this continue should be. Follow your boy Crypto Black. See you next time.
You just don't want to admit it, but van life equals housing crisis. This isn't a vibe, and this is not freedom. This is what happens when housing collapses and survival becomes illegal. Millions of us are being pushed to live into vehicles just to survive. And cities are treating us like shit. And for most of us, van life is the last resort. And we're being hunted for it. Welcome to part 7 of a series of why I don't think van life is going to last for the next 5 to 10 years. This is the part no one wants to say out loud, that van life is the new face of homelessness. And I'm not talking about the kind you ignore on the freeway ramp. I'm talking about the kind you envy on Instagram without even realize that most of us are barely hanging on. Rent is unattainable, wages are stagnant, and the price of just living, even simply, has skyrocketed. Most people aren't choosing this life because it's cute. They're choosing it because they don't have an alternative. But instead of compassion, we get harassment. And instead of services, we get surveillance. And we certainly don't get safety, we get ticketed or towed or jailed for sleeping in our own property. I've said it before and I'll say it again, that city ordinances are being put into place to criminalize living in your vehicle. Even if your van is insured, even if it's spotless, self-contained, all that, doesn't matter. They don't want to see you because you are their failure, made entirely too visible. And the few who do glamorize it, they're helping the cities crack down on us because we're not the right kind of van life for them. If we're not brand safe, we're broke. And they want us gone. So even with all the bougie Sprinter vans, van life isn't a trend. It is the front line of America's housing disaster. And if you're not scared yet, you're not paying attention. You can go watch the full story here, or you can join the conversation here. If you go there, I'm warning you right now, you're gonna have to use your thinker. And you can just follow me here if you don't want to be silent. Just leave a comment.
This is not too bad at night, but I usually use this. So, this is my little blinders.
Now you throw that up when? About sundown or when?
I throw it up anytime I park. It don't matter. It's sundown, yeah. So, yep. And then I have, this one is big because it's for my other car, but I can kind of see. I have it like open so I can kind of see from here. Mm-hmm.
Peek out right there.
Yeah, peek out right here. I can peek out right here too where they can't see me. And then of course I use my rears and then back here. And then I have my shoes, like I have my house shoes. Usually, because you was riding with me, but usually I have my house shoes in there. Like this is my food, my salad. I know it's weird spreading sitting here. I still eat it. I got homeless lady stomach. But this is so that's my bedding right here. This is my purse. So this is my water. This is my cleaning products for my car. So this is like my little supply,
Being an American right now is some scary fucking shit. Studio apartment, $2,500. Average cost of a car, $50,000. You want a bacon, egg, and cheese? Motherfucker, them eggs cost $20. You need gas to fill up that $50,000 car? Well, get ready to spend $70. The government? Yeah, that's no longer a thing, buddy. You want to be educated and go to school so you could do something with your life? Well, sorry. That's no longer a thing. If you happen to look something like I do, Hispanic, we're gonna send you out of the country even though you were born here. Oh, and that small check that you earn every week? Yeah, I'm gonna have to take half of that. Give me that. And that car that you paid $50,000 for, we're gonna have to charge you taxes every year for that too. Pretty much, living a comfortable life in America right now is almost fucking impossible. Thank you, Trump.
Millions and billions of people in America do not have anywhere to live. They do not have homes. And millions of people in America have resorted to living in their cars. And yet there is houses and apartments that are empty. Why is this? Because this is the epitome of capitalism. People in America, the rents are so high that they cannot afford to live in a home. And so most people, when you get a job, what do? You buy a car in which you live in. This is the global king, if you like, of capitalism. These are the people who have gone round the world destroying countries, trying to enforce democracy and capitalism. And America is a failed state. Make no mistake about it, it's a failed state. The numbers of homeless people in America is catastrophic. The number of people living in cars is even bigger. And yet, a lot of people around the world think that they're going to get to America to make that American dream. It is just that. It's a dream. It doesn't exist.
This is the most unaffordable housing market that America has ever seen. Let's use this home as an example, which is the American dream for a lot of people like me and my fiance. We do pretty well for ourselves, we earn in the six figures, and we've always wanted this. But then this happened. $553,000 for this house. You may be thinking to yourself, well, that's not so bad. Let me show you. This home that was sold for $553,000, that was listed for $489,000, sold for $337,000 back in 2018. This home in 2025 with a $553,000 sale price, 6% down and a 6.5% rate, gives you a payment of $3,716. But back in 2018 with a $337,000 sale price, 6% down and a 4.5% rate, gives you a payment of $1,800. Which means to afford that home today, you need a household income of $230,000. When in 2018, you needed a household income of $100,000. Meaning that back in 2018, a couple with 2 entry-level jobs could have afforded this house. That's the issue that many people like me and my fiance are having. How is it that we have to earn more than twice as much money to do the same things that people used to be able to do just 5-6 years ago? One of the worst parts is we can't get any honesty around the situation. So if you want honest news around what's going on in the housing market, make sure you check out my newsletter in my link in bio called Pissed Off Buyer. And let me know in the comments what's happening with the housing market in your city. Like, follow, and comment for more.
We are living in a retirement nightmare right now with so many people facing homelessness. You know, when I grew up, seeing your parents, and then for me, working decades, you think retirement is a time of peace and quiet. You're rewarded for all your hard work. And for so many, it has become a complete nightmare. It's not like that anymore, unfortunately. There are so many people right now that are one rent, one medical bill, and one bad month of being homeless out on the streets. That's very sad. But that, unfortunately, is the reality that we are living in right now. I grew up believing that after working really hard for years, and everything would be fine. You know, you're putting into your 401k. You know, if you're fortunate enough to have a 401k, I worked for only one company that had a 401k, so I really didn't have a whole lot in a 401k. I was fortunate enough to have a pension, not a large one by any means, but I just saved for my retirement. That's what I had to do. So that's what we're thinking, that everything was great. You know, a lot of people get that when you retire, people are taking all these beautiful vacations and they're walking through the sand on a beach with their margaritas. For the most part, most people aren't doing that. Most people wish they could do that, but most people are not doing that. And so many people right now are having a hard time with the housing costs, the groceries, the insurance. We're being taxed to death. So you're going to see people that are not always going to tell you how bad they're struggling. I get it. They're proud. I get that. They're embarrassed as to where they're at in life. They're going to feel like they failed. They didn't do enough to prepare themselves. I didn't always do enough to prepare myself. But you're going to find people sleeping in cars. You're going to find people staying with other family members or going from place to place. Can you imagine being in your 60s and 70s and you're not sure if you're going to have a home to go home to next month? I can't imagine that. I am very blessed that I have a home, and maybe I bought at the right time. I don't know, but it's affordable. I feel thankful that I'm where I'm at, but I feel so bad for some of these people that are one rent away from losing everything. I get that. But I've never been in their shoes. But I don't want people to blame themselves because it's not your fault. The system isn't built to protect us. in today's world. It's just not.
Across the country, families are bedding down in sedans, SUVs, minivans, anything with four wheels and a backseat, enough to pretend it's a mattress. Why? Because rent has skyrocketed faster than a Trump press conference meltdown. And home prices, well, they are now sitting in a galaxy far away, accessible only to billionaires, hedge funds, and those who own their own private islands. Meanwhile, wages have politely refused to move. They're sitting there like, raise under who? Not this administration. So here we are. Americans, working 2 or 3 jobs just to afford a parking space. And what's the official response? Oh, the economy is booming. Sure, booming for who? Because the only boom regular people hear is the police tapping on their car window at 2 a.m. asking, are you sleeping here, sir? Now, let's get this straight. This isn't hashtag van life or cute Instagram travel content. These aren't people choosing minimalism and sunset. These are teachers, nurses, professors, service workers, even people with full-time jobs who simply cannot afford a roof over their head under Trump's economic policies. Now, it's bad when the safest investment for a working American is a blanket in the backseat. The housing market has turned into a VIP club, and the bouncer is Trump. Deregulation spread combined with investor greed. Corporations are buying entire neighborhoods while everyday Americans are left shopping for the confised car seats to sleep on. And the government, they are holding meetings, writing speeches, and explaining why things are actually not that bad. Meanwhile, Americans are Googling, is it legal to sleep in my car in Walmart parking lot? Now, Trump's administration loves to take credit for everything, except, of course, the stuff people can actually see outside their window. Like cuts to affordable housing programs, policies that allow big investors to buy up homes and jack up prices, economic decisions that spike interest rates and mortgage cuts, failures to expand rental assistance in communities that desperately need it. So what happens? Housing becomes a luxury item, and Americans are left choosing between food, medicine, or a roof. And the irony, Trump promised to make America great again, but somehow we skipped straight to make America a mobile campground. Not exactly the dream. No. Now, behind every parked car with foggy window is a story. Parents trying to shield their kids from the reality that they don't have a home tonight. Workers charging their phones at gas stations before their next shift. Students sleeping in parking lots while writing homework under doom lights. Now, this isn't a political statistic. This is human crisis, and the policies fueling it is not accidents, they are choices. Now, whenever reporters ask Trump about the rising homelessness or out of control rent, he delivers the same classic routine. Blame the Democrats, blame immigrants, blame someone, anyone but himself. Meanwhile, Americans are out here learning the difference between good overnight spots and bad overnight spots. When people are forced into survival mode, that's not just policy failures, it's a neglect. And if the trend continues, forget the American dream. We'll be talking about the American sleeping bag initiative. And that's bad. So here we are in an administration that claims victory at every press conference. Millions of regular Americans are measuring success by how long they can keep their engine running for heat at night. The housing crisis didn't just start today, but under Trump, it's accelerating like a Tesla in sports mode. The real question is, how long can a country survive when its working classes living in parking lots instead of communities, proper houses? So, do you think Trump's housing policies made the crisis worse? Should the government treat housing as a basic right? Is America heading toward a future where only corporations own houses or homes? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm ready to dive in with you. And as always, don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Global Views with Josh. And I'll see you guys on the next video. And until then, credit belongs to original creators.